The Tesla showroom gleamed under the morning sun, its glass walls reflecting the early light as employees prepared for another routine day. The clock had just struck 10 when something unexpected happened. Through the automatic doors walked a small figure that would change the atmosphere of the entire showroom. A young girl, no more than 12 years old, stepped inside with the kind of confidence that made everyone stop and stare. She wore a simple blue dress with sneakers, her dark hair tied neatly in 2 braids. But what caught everyone's attention was the worn pink purse she clutched tightly to her chest, as if it contained something incredibly precious. The showroom was quiet that morning, with just a few early visitors examining the sleek vehicles on display. The girl's sneakers squeaked slightly against the polished floor as she made her way to the front desk, her determined expression never wavering. She was so tiny that she had to stand on her tiptoes just to peek over the counter. Yet there was something about her presence that commanded attention. Behind the desk, the receptionist looked up from her computer screen, surprised to see such a young visitor without any adults in sight. Other employees nearby paused their morning routines, curious about this unusual situation unfolding before them. A few customers even stopped their conversations, turning to watch the scene. The girl cleared her throat and spoke in a clear, unwavering voice. "Good morning. I'm here to buy a car for my dad." She said it so matter-of-factly that for a moment, nobody quite knew how to respond. The receptionist blinked twice, her coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. Before anyone could say anything, the girl reached into her pink purse and carefully pulled out a small stack of carefully folded $1 bills, along with a collection of quarters and dimes that clinked as she placed them on the counter. She had obviously spent considerable time arranging them neatly, with all the bills facing the same direction. "I've been saving my allowance," she explained, standing as tall as she could. "Dad always stopped here after work. He looks at the cars through the window, but never comes inside. I hear him tell Mom about how these cars help save the planet, just like his work does." The sincerity in her voice touched everyone within earshot. A couple looking at a Model I nearby exchanged gentle smiles, while a sales consultant discreetly wiped the corner of his eye. The girl continued to explain how her father worked as an environmental engineer, spending his days trying to make the world a better place. She had overheard him countless times talking about Tesla with such enthusiasm. How the cars were changing the future, how they were helping to protect the environment. But he always ended these conversations with a sigh, saying the same thing. "Maybe someday." The receptionist finally found her voice, though it was softer than usual. "How much did you bring with you today?" she asked gently. The girl proudly counted out her savings right there on the counter. $15.35, earned from months of doing extra chores and saving every penny she could find. What made this moment particularly special wasn't just the amount she'd had saved, but the absolute conviction in her eyes that this was enough to help her father's dream come true. In her young mind, she had worked out that if she could just make the first step, somehow everything else would fall into place. As she stood there, waiting expectantly for someone to help her pick out the perfect car for her father, nobody in the showroom could remember the last time they had witnessed such pure, innocent determination. This wasn't just another sales inquiry. This was about to become one of those stories that would be told and retold among Tesla employees for years to come. The showroom staff gathered around the front desk, exchanging glances that moved from initial amusement to genuine warmth. The lead sales advisor stepped forward, straightening his navy blue Tesla polo shirt. He pulled up a chair so the young girl wouldn't have to keep standing on her tiptoes. "So, tell me more about this car you want to buy for your dad," he said, taking out a notepad as if this was the most natural transaction in the world. The girl's eyes lit up, and she reached into her pink purse again, this time pulling out a slightly crumpled magazine clipping of a Tesla Model 3. "This one," she said, carefully smoothing out the paper on the counter. "It's the one Dad always looks at. He says it's perfect because it's not too expensive." She paused, then added with complete seriousness, "Well, compared to the other ones." The sales advisor nodded thoughtfully, fighting back a smile as she continued explaining her plans. I know $15 isn't enough for the whole car, she admitted, showing wisdom beyond her years. But maybe I could pay a little bit now and then save up the rest. I get $5 allowance every week if I do all my chores, and I'm really good at saving. A small crowd had formed nearby, pretending to look at brochures while actually listening to every word. An elderly couple who had come in to pick up their new Model Y stood transfixed, the wife gently squeezing her husband's hand as they watched. The girl reached into her purse one more time and pulled out a small notebook. Opening it revealed careful calculations written in purple crayon, showing how long it would take her to save up for the car. The math wasn't quite right, but the dedication was clear. She had drawn little pictures of Tesla cars in the margins and written Dad's birthday present at the top of each page. My dad's birthday is in 3 months, she explained, flipping through her notebook. I was hoping maybe I could start paying now, and you could hold the car for him. Her hopeful expression made several staff members turn away, trying to compose themselves. The sales advisor cleared his throat, clearly moved by her sincerity. You know what? I think we can do something special here. He turned to his computer and started typing. First, let's learn all about this car so you can tell your dad exactly why it's amazing. Other employees began bringing over material samples and color swatches, showing her the different options available for the Model 3. They explained everything in simple terms, matching her enthusiasm with their own. One staff member even brought out a tablet to show her the car's interactive features. The girl absorbed every detail with intense concentration, occasionally making notes in her purple crayon. She was particularly excited about the zero-emission features, explaining that her dad always talked about helping the environment. He says we have to take care of the Earth because it's the only home we have, she shared, making several adults in earshot nod in agreement. When they showed her the large touchscreen inside the Model 3, her eyes grew wide with wonder. Dad would love this, she whispered, carefully touching the screen. He always says his old car is like a dinosaur compared to these. The genuine joy in her voice touched everyone present. Time seemed to slow down in the showroom as this unexpected scene unfolded. Regular customers who came in were caught up in the moment, some even offering to contribute to her down payment. But the staff had a different idea forming, something that would make this memorable moment even more special. The girl's pure intention to make her father's dream come true had transformed what could have been a simple, amusing incident into something that reminded everyone present about the power of love and determination. As the sales advisor continued showing her features of the car, it was clear that this story was far from over. It was just getting started. As the morning light streamed through the showroom windows, the young girl began sharing more about her father, and everyone present found themselves drawn deeper into her story. Her eyes sparkled as she talked about how her dad would detour past the Tesla showroom on his way home from work just to catch a glimpse of the cars through the windows. He doesn't know I notice, she said softly, tracing her finger along the Model 3's sleek body. But sometimes, when he thinks nobody's watching, he stops his car across the street. He just sits there for a few minutes, looking at these cars with this big smile on his face. The sales advisor leaned forward, genuinely interested. Tell us more about your dad's work, he encouraged, noting how the girl's face lit up at the invitation to talk about her father. Several other staff members pulled up chairs, creating an impromptu gathering around the front desk. Dad's really smart, she began proudly. He works on making factories cleaner so they don't hurt the earth. Sometimes he comes home really tired, but he always says it's worth it because he's helping to make the world better for me and my little brother. She paused, then added, That's why I think he deserves this car so much. He's always thinking about everyone else. A middle-aged couple who had been browsing nearby stopped to listen. The woman wiped away a tear as the girl described how her father had taught her about renewable energy using her toy cars as examples. He made my remote control car run on solar power for my science project, she shared. Everyone at school thought it was so cool. The girl then pulled out her phone, an older model clearly handed down from a parent, and showed them her wallpaper. A picture of her dad pointing excitedly at a Tesla he'd spotted on the street. "Mom took this photo last month," she explained. He didn't even know she was taking it. He gets so excited every time he sees one, like a little kid at Christmas. She continued telling them about how her father had been saving money for years, putting aside a little bit each month. But something always comes up. She sighed with the wisdom beyond her years. "Last year, he was going to make a down payment, but then my brother needed braces. And the year before that, our roof started leaking." The staff exchanged knowing looks as she described her father's selfless nature. Here was a man who consistently put his family's needs before his own dreams, who worked to protect the environment while raising his children to care about the world around them. "The funny thing is," she added, "Dad doesn't know that Mom's been saving too. I heard her talking to Grandma about how she's been putting aside money from her baking business. She sells cookies at the farmer's market every weekend." The girl grinned conspiratorially. "I'm not supposed to know about that either." One of the technicians, who had been quietly listening while pretending to clean nearby displays, spoke up. "Your dad sounds like he really understands what Tesla stands for. It's not just about having a nice car. It's about making a difference." The girl nodded enthusiastically. "That's exactly what he says. He tells us that every small thing we do to help the earth adds up. Like how we always sort our recycling and have a compost bin in our backyard." She looked around the showroom thoughtfully. "He says these cars are like his work. They're helping to make the world cleaner, one step at a time." As she spoke, something remarkable was happening in the showroom. What had started as an amusing incident was transforming into something more meaningful. The staff weren't just humoring a child's cute gesture anymore. They were becoming invested in making a hard-working environmental engineer's dream come true. The girl's simple presence and genuine love for her father had managed to touch something deep in everyone present. Her story wasn't just about wanting to buy a car. It was about appreciation, sacrifice, and the pure desire to bring joy to someone who had given so much to others. The sales team huddled together briefly, whispered something among themselves, and then turned back to the young girl with warm smiles. The lead advisor pulled his chair closer and said, "We've been thinking. Your $15 might not buy a whole Tesla, but it can definitely start something special." He gestured toward the gleaming Model 3 on display. "Would you like to see what your dad's experience would be like when he drives this car?" The girl's eyes widened with excitement, and she nodded so eagerly that her braids bounced. One of the staff members brought over a small step stool, allowing her to climb carefully into the driver's seat of the display model. Her feet barely reached the pedals, but her face showed pure joy as she gripped the steering wheel. The new car smell, the soft leather seats, and the giant touchscreen in front of her made everything feel magical. "This screen is bigger than our TV," she exclaimed, causing everyone around to chuckle. The sales advisor began showing her how everything worked, explaining in simple terms that she could easily understand. When he demonstrated how the car could park itself, she gasped in amazement. "Dad would love this. He always says he's terrible at parallel parking." A tech-savvy staff member pulled up the Tesla app on a tablet, showing her how her father could control the car's temperature, check its location, and even summon it from a parking spot. "It's like having a robot car," she breathed, completely fascinated. "Dad teaches me coding on weekends. He'd think this is so cool." As she sat in the driver's seat, the girl shared more stories about her father. She told them about how he would spend hours helping her with science projects, explaining complex ideas in ways that made them fun and interesting. "Last month, he helped me build a mini wind turbine for the garden," she said proudly. "He said it was just like the big ones he works with, only tiny." The showroom had gotten busier as the morning went on, but other customers found themselves drawn to this heartwarming scene. Many stopped to watch as the girl learned about the car's features, her enthusiasm infectious. An older gentleman, who had just finished purchasing his own Tesla, stood nearby with a gentle smile, reminded of his own daughter. The staff took turns showing her different aspects of the car. One showed her the front trunk where most cars would have an engine. "This is where Dad could keep his laptop and his hard hat," she declared, already planning how he would use the car. Another demonstrated the air conditioning system's dog mode, making her giggle as she imagined their family pet lounging comfortably in the car. What started as a simple demonstration turned into an impromptu learning session. The girl asked intelligent questions about how the electric motor worked, how the car charged, and how far it could drive on a single charge. She took notes in her little notebook, drawing diagrams and writing down facts she thought would impress her father. "You know what?" the sales advisor said thoughtfully. "I think we should make something special for your dad." He grabbed a blank presentation folder and started collecting materials, brochures, spec sheets, and photos of the Model 3. The girl watched intently as he arranged everything neatly, adding her own creative touch by drawing small hearts and stars on the corners of the pages. The entire showroom staff had become invested in this unexpected morning visitor. They weren't just showing her a car anymore. They were helping the daughter express her love for her father in the most remarkable way. Her $15 might not have been enough to buy a Tesla, but it had bought something equally valuable. It had reminded everyone present about the pure, unconditional love of a child for their parent. The showroom staff decided to take their impromptu presentation to the next level. They guided the young girl to their state-of-the-art virtual reality setup, typically reserved for serious buyers. "Would you like to see what it feels like to actually drive the car?" the tech specialist asked, carefully adjusting the VR headset to fit her small head. Her gasp of delight as the virtual world came into view made everyone smile. "Oh my goodness! It feels like I'm really driving," she exclaimed, reaching out to touch the virtual dashboard. The simulator took her through a peaceful countryside drive, showing how the autopilot worked and demonstrating the car's safety features. "Dad would feel like a superhero driving this," she said, her voice filled with wonder as she navigated through the virtual landscape. The staff had never seen anyone so excited about their simulator. Most adults treated it as a novelty, but she approached it with pure, unbridled joy. While she was enjoying the virtual experience, several Tesla owners who had come in for service heard about what was happening. They gathered around, sharing their own stories about why they chose their cars. One owner, a teacher, told her how he used his car to teach his students about renewable energy. Another, a grandmother, shared how her grandchildren called her car the spaceship. "Your dad sounds just like us," one owner said warmly. "We all started as dreamers too." The girl beamed at being included in this impromptu community gathering. These weren't just car owners anymore. They were becoming cheerleaders for her cause. The sales advisor had been working on something special during this time. He created a professional-looking presentation that included all the environmental benefits of the Model 3, knowing this would resonate with her father's work. He added charts showing the reduced carbon footprint, carefully explaining each point to the girl so she could understand it too. "Look at this," he said, showing her a graph. "This is how much your dad would help the planet by driving this car instead of a regular one." Her eyes lit up as she understood. It was like her father's work, but in car form. She insisted on adding her own touch to the presentation, drawing little trees and happy faces in the margins. During a break from the simulator, she shared more about her family's eco-friendly lifestyle. "We have solar panels on our roof," she explained proudly. "Dad says they're like little power stations that catch sunlight. He would love knowing he could power his car from them too." The staff brought out their sample materials next, letting her feel the different seat textures and paint colors. She spent several minutes comparing them, taking her responsibility very seriously. "Dad likes blue," she mused, "but Mom says black stays cleaner longer." Her practical consideration of such details amused and touched everyone watching. A spontaneous brainstorming session began among the staff and friendly customers. Someone suggested creating a special birthday card signed by everyone present. Another proposed recording a video message about why her father would be perfect for the Tesla community. The girls' enthusiasm had sparked a chain reaction of kindness and creativity. What made this moment particularly special was how the showroom had transformed. Instead of being just a place to sell cars, it had become a gathering spot for people united by a child's love for her father. The usual barrier between customers and staff had melted away, replaced by a shared mission to make this girl's dream for her father come true. As the morning wore on, more people kept stopping by to add their own suggestions and ideas. The girl's simple act of walking into the showroom with her savings had triggered something remarkable. A reminder that sometimes the purest gestures can bring out the best in everyone around them. Word about the young girl's mission spread quickly through the local Tesla community. One owner, who had come in for a service appointment, made a few phone calls, and soon other Tesla drivers began arriving at the showroom. Each one had their own story to share, and each wanted to be part of this special moment. A retired engineer pulled up in his Model S and introduced himself to the girl. "I heard you're trying to make your dad's dream come true," he said warmly. "You know, I waited 10 years before I could buy my Tesla. Would you like to know what made it worth the wait?" The girl nodded eagerly, pulling out her notebook once again. The retired engineer showed her how his car had saved him money on gas over the years. He pulled up his Tesla app and showed her the statistics. How many trees he helped save. How many gallons of gas he hadn't used. The girl's eyes grew wide as she understood the real-world impact. "Dad always talks about numbers like this at work," she exclaimed. More owners arrived, creating an impromptu gathering in the showroom parking lot. A young couple who had just received their Model 3 the previous week offered to give her a tour of their car. "It's exactly like the one your dad wants," they explained, showing her all the features they discovered so far. The girl took everything in with amazing attention to detail. She asked about their charging routines, how they planned long trips, and what surprised them most about owning an electric car. Each owner patiently answered her questions, touched by her genuine interest and determination to understand everything about these cars her father loved so much. Inside the showroom, the staff had started a heartwarming project. They set up a simple video recording station where Tesla owners could leave short messages for the girl's father. "We want him to know he's already part of our community," the sales advisor explained, "even before he owns one of our cars." One by one, owners stepped up to record their messages. A doctor spoke about how his Tesla helped him get to emergency calls reliably. A teacher shared how her students got excited about science when she explained how her car worked. Each message was personal, genuine, and filled with encouragement for a fellow Tesla enthusiast they'd never met. The girl watched each recording with growing excitement. "Dad's going to cry when he sees this," she predicted, then quickly added, "But don't worry. He says it's okay for grown-ups to cry when they're happy." A local Tesla Owners Club president arrived, having heard about the story through their community chat. He brought something special, a handful of photographs showing Tesla cars at various community events. "Your dad might like to see what kind of activities we do," he explained, helping the girl add the photos to her presentation folder. The morning had turned into something far bigger than anyone expected. What started as a child's innocent attempt to buy a car with her savings had blossomed into a celebration of community, dreams, and the special bond between a father and daughter. Between recordings, the owners shared stories about their own families. One woman told how her children had saved up to buy her a special Tesla accessory for Mother's Day. Another spoke about how his daughter had convinced him to go electric after learning about climate change in school. Each story strengthened the sense of connection in the room. The girl sat in the middle of all this activity, her pink purse still clutched close, taking in every moment with pure joy. She might have walked in thinking she needed to buy a car, but she was walking away with something even more valuable: a whole community ready to welcome her father with open arms. As the afternoon approached, the showroom staff gathered around their conference table with their special visitor to create something memorable. The sales advisor pulled out a large, elegant card. Not the usual business materials, but something he bought from the gift shop next door during his lunch break. "Your dad's birthday needs to be extra special," he explained, spreading out colorful markers and pens. The girl picked up a blue marker, her father's favorite color, and began carefully writing on the first page. Her tongue stuck out slightly as she concentrated on making her handwriting as neat as possible. Everyone took turns adding their messages to the card. The Tesla owners who had stayed wrote about looking forward to seeing her father at future community events. The staff added their own touches, including a special VIP test drive invitation that would never expire. Each message was personal, heartfelt, and filled with genuine warmth. The card quickly became more than just paper and ink. It transformed into a collection of hopes, dreams, and community spirit. Someone had the idea to include small drawings of Tesla cars in different colors, making the card even more special. The girl added her own artwork, drawing her father with a big smile standing next to a Model 3. "We should add your $15 in a special way," suggested one of the staff members. They found a small envelope, which the girl decorated with stars and hearts, and carefully placed her saved allowance inside. On the envelope, she wrote, "My first down payment," in her best handwriting. While they worked on the card, more Tesla owners dropped by after hearing about the morning's events. One brought his laptop and showed everyone photos from recent Tesla owner meetups, family picnics, charity drives, and environmental awareness events. The girl's eyes sparkled as she imagined her father being part of these gatherings. A retired art teacher who owned a Model X offered to create a special border around the card's edges. She drew delicate vines and leaves representing growth and new beginnings. "Because buying your first Tesla is like planting a seed for the future," she explained to the girl, who nodded in understanding. The staff added something extra special, a set of professional photos of the Model 3 in the exact configuration they knew her father would love, based on all the details his daughter had shared. They included specifications, features, and environmental impact statistics, all presented in a way that would speak to an environmental engineer's heart. As they worked, the girl shared more stories about her father. She told them about how he helped her build a mini greenhouse in their backyard, explaining how plants help clean the air, just like electric cars help clean the roads. Her pride in her father's work was evident in every word she spoke. The card grew thicker with added photos, messages, and mementos from the day. Someone suggested creating a timeline of her father's future Tesla journey, starting with "the day my daughter brought her savings," and ending with "the day you join our Tesla family." The girl loved this idea and helped create each milestone illustration. What made this moment particularly touching was how everyone contributed in their own way. A customer service representative wrote a beautiful paragraph about the similarity between the girl's father's environmental work and Tesla's mission. A technician added a detailed drawing of the car's eco-friendly features. The final touch was a group photo of everyone who had been part of this special day, printed and carefully attached to the card. In the center stood the young girl, holding her pink purse and beaming with joy, surrounded by her new Tesla family. This wasn't just a birthday card anymore. It had become a symbol of how one child's love for her father had brought an entire community together. The peaceful atmosphere of the showroom was suddenly interrupted by the sound of quick footsteps and worried voices. A woman rushed through the entrance, slightly out of breath, her eyes scanning the room anxiously. The moment she spotted the young girl surrounded by Tesla staff and owners, her shoulders dropped in relief. "There you are," she called out, hurrying over. "I've been looking everywhere." It was the girl's mother, who had discovered her daughter's absence during a quick check of her room. The girl looked up, a mix of guilt and excitement on her face as her mother approached. The mother stopped short when she saw the scene before her: the decorated card, the group of friendly faces, and the collection of Tesla owners who had gathered throughout the morning. Her expression shifted from worry to amazement as the sales advisor stepped forward to explain everything that had happened. As she listened to the story of her daughter's $15 attempt to buy her husband's dream car, tears began to form in her eyes. The girl rushed to her mother's side, explaining rapidly about all she had learned and the wonderful people she had met. She pulled out her notebook, showing her mother the drawings and notes she'd had made about the Model 3. "Oh, sweetie," her mother said softly, pulling her daughter close. Then, to everyone's surprise, she reached into her handbag and pulled out a small notebook of her own. Opening it revealed careful calculations and savings notes. She had been keeping track of money saved from her weekend bakery sales at the local farmer's market. "Your father doesn't know this," she shared with the group, her voice warm with emotion. "But I've been saving for almost 2 years now. Every cookie, every cake I sell, a portion goes into what I call the Tesla Fund." She showed them the notebook, where she had documented every dollar saved toward her husband's dream car. The showroom fell silent as everyone realized the beautiful coincidence. A father's dream being supported not just by his young daughter's piggy bank savings, but also by his wife's secret baking business. The mother explained how she had been waiting for the right moment, planning to surprise him when she had saved enough for a substantial down payment. The sales advisor's eyes lit up with an idea. He explained to the mother about the community that had formed around her daughter's visit. The Tesla owners who had shared their stories, the special card they had created, and the VIP test drive invitation. Together, they began to form a plan that would make this surprise even more special. The mother shared her own stories about her husband's dedication to environmental causes. She told them about the late nights he spent working on projects, the way he would explain complex environmental concepts to their children using everyday examples, and how he had installed solar panels on their house himself to save money. As she spoke, one of the Tesla owners who had stayed throughout the morning stepped forward. "I have an idea," he said, explaining how the local Tesla Owners Club could help make the surprise even more memorable. Soon, everyone was contributing suggestions, building on the foundation of love and community that had been growing all morning. The girl watched this new development with pure joy, hugging her mother tight. Her innocent plan to buy her father's dream car had not only brought her mother's secret savings to light, but had also created a ripple effect of kindness and community support that none of them could have imagined. What had started as a child's determined attempt to make her father's dream come true had evolved into something far more meaningful, a testimony to the power of family love and community spirit. The mother's revelation had added another layer to an already beautiful story, proving that the biggest dreams often come true through the combined efforts of those who care most. 3 months passed, and the Tesla showroom was buzzing with excitement on a bright Saturday morning. The staff had come in early, arranging everything perfectly for a very special delivery. The large windows gleamed in the morning sun, and a beautiful blue Model 3 sat in the center of the showroom, wrapped with a massive red bow. Today was the environmental engineer's birthday, and everything was ready for the surprise of his life. His daughter's $15 had been professionally framed, hanging proudly on the showroom wall with a small plaque that read, "Dreams start with love." The story of her visit had become a favorite among Tesla staff nationwide. The plan had worked perfectly. His wife had convinced him to stop by the showroom on their way to what he thought was a simple birthday breakfast. Just for fun, she had said, knowing what awaited them. The local Tesla Owners Club had arranged their cars in the parking lot, forming an honor guard of sorts. When the family's old car pulled into the parking lot, everyone held their breath. The young girl could barely contain her excitement, bouncing on her toes as she watched through the window. She had managed to keep the secret all these months, an impressive feat for someone so young. The moment he walked through the doors, everyone shouted, "Surprise!" The look on his face was priceless, confusion turning to disbelief, then to overwhelming emotion as he saw the gathered crowd. His daughter ran to him, wrapping her arms around his waist, while his wife stood nearby, tears of joy in her eyes. The sales advisor stepped forward, holding the framed $15. He told the story of how a little girl's love had touched so many hearts, how her mother's secret cookie sales had grown into a substantial down payment, and how the community had come together to make this moment possible. The father listened, tears streaming down his face, as they showed him the video messages from Tesla owners, the special card filled with warm wishes, and finally, the beautiful blue Model 3 that was now his. His daughter proudly showed him all the features she had learned about, speaking with the confidence of someone who had done their homework. What made the moment even more special was the response from the Tesla community. Owners who had been part of the original day had returned, bringing their families to share in the celebration. The retired engineer who had first shared his Tesla story was there, ready to welcome another environmentalist to the family. The father's voice shook with emotion as he spoke to the gathered crowd. He talked about his years of dreaming, of driving past the showroom, never knowing that his daughter had noticed those longing glances. He hugged his wife, amazed at her secret bakery fund, and lifted his daughter high in the air, calling her his little Tesla angel. The best part came when he sat in the driver's seat for the first time. His daughter climbed into the passenger seat, just as she had done 3 months ago, ready to show him everything she had learned. The proud father listened intently as his little girl explained about regenerative braking and autopilot features, his smile growing wider with each detail. The framed $15 became a permanent fixture in the showroom, inspiring other families and reminding everyone that the biggest dreams often start with the smallest gestures. The staff added a small photo below it, the father and daughter sitting together in their new Tesla, both beaming with pure joy. As the family drove away in their new Model 3, followed by a parade of Tesla owners honking in celebration, the showroom staff knew they had been part of something truly special. This wasn't just about selling a car, it was about a child's love, a mother's dedication, and a community coming together to make a dream come true. The story of the little girl with $15 and a big heart became legend in the Tesla community, shared at gatherings and meetups, reminding everyone that sometimes the most powerful force for making dreams come true is the pure, simple love of a child for their parent.